Good morning. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and this is just a quick status report of what's happening to the different bikes in the shop, so that each of the owners can know what's happening with their bike. Let's go over here. We'll pan over here. There's Fred. His head is at the machinist, being lapped and valves installed and guides installed. The green and white bike, it's this one, the Triumph, its head is ready to go to the machinist to be lapped and have the valves and valve guides installed. The blue bike, the blue bathtub, is sitting here. I just received a bunch of parts for it. I can actually put it back on the lift. The black Norton is sitting here with the engine wide open, and its head is also at the machinist to have the head lapped and valves and valve guides installed. Over here on the lift is Blue Boy. We've been working on that for the last couple of days occasionally, and I just recommended to the client that it's going to cost way too much money to take that engine apart, put it back together, and get the bike rideable and safe. And he needs to make a decision whether or not he wants to keep putting a whole lot of money into it, or call the project off and maybe part the bike out or sell it as a project bike to somebody who has more time and tools and available, who can do it themselves. So that's the situation on Blue Boy at this point in time. Now the client may come back and say, yeah, go ahead, what the heck. I'm frankly estimating between $5,000 and $8,000 to put this bike together and make it runnable and as safe as it would have been when it was made. That's our objective here, is to make the bikes as reliable, actually more reliable than when they were built, and as safe as they were when they were built. It'll never be up to 2025 safety standards. The technology just isn't there. But we can get them up to the same standards as when they were built. It's a legal thing. So the brakes on that one are pretty good. It's disc brakes, front and rear. That's pretty good brakes. The bike is a whole bike, but the engine is frozen and it needs a lot of bits and pieces. So it's a difficult decision. If it was a privately owned bike and the owner was doing the labor, then I'd say rebuild it. As a client bike, unless the client wants to spend the money, I'd say sell it to somebody as a project for them to do on their own time. Anyway, that's where we are. This is the head and cylinders and new pistons and valves and guides for the green and white Triumph. They need to go to they've been vapor blasted, all nice and clean, gorgeous. And they need to go to the machinist to be bored, fitted, and guides put in and valves seated. This is the clutch and parts for the blue bike that I've received so far. New clutch, some grommets, seat, and some brakes that we may or may not use. We'll decide that when we get the wheels off. Once again, that's a safety feature, whereas the brakes in that bike might be good enough. The question is, are they to the goodness of when the bike was built? Once again, it's a liability issue. This is a business here, guys. If something happens and this bike crashes and the client is injured or worse, I get to explain to his survivor's attorney why I didn't do something that I thought needed to be done because the client said don't do it. That don't fly. It has to meet standards that'll stand up to interrogation, shall we say. So when I get into the wheels, I'm going to look at the brakes. If they look old, crusty, worn, or even original and still good looking, if they're riveted brakes, I'm changing them out. Uh, I honestly don't know if brake shoes dry up with age or get brittle with age or get hard with age. I don't know. That's that's they say speaking. They say brakes age with age. I don't know. But if the brakes in this bike are original riveted shoes, they're coming out of there. And we're going to put these new shoes on. And that is a liability issue. Guys, keep in mind, this is a business. And I have to basically cover my ass. That's the way it is. So that's what's happening here on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. I'm actually probably going to just do a little bit of work this morning and call it good, because I'm going to go vegetate in front of the Treblevision set and watch the game. So that's where we are on a Sunday morning here in Phoenix. Well, hello again. I forgot to mention the Gold Norton, the show bike, is off at a second machinist slash fabricator friend of mine. He's a freaking genius with his machine shop, and he's built a battery box for it that fits up underneath the tail section on that bike, and then it's complete, and it'll come back here in the next week or so, at which time we will lay plans to install an Alton electric starter in the bike, electronic ignition, and a few other odds and ends that the client wants done. But the big thing of getting the battery box made so that the bike will have a battery is done. It's complete, and I'm glad to hear that. So once again, that's it for now. Theoretically, another bike's coming in here today about 9 o'clock, and I don't even know what it is. I've just spoken with the client about a week ago when we made a plan for him to bring a bike in here today, and I think it might be another Norton. I'm just not sure. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, the Gold bike battery box fabrication is complete, and it will come back here sometime in the next week or so.